On a meticulously equipped airship powered by Astermite, Noé Archiviste, a vampire, embarks on a journey to Paris with the intention of unraveling the genuine essence of a renowned grimoire known as the Book of Vanitas for his mentor. Along the way, he encounters Amelia Ruth, a woman who turns out to be a vampire herself. Driven by an insatiable thirst for blood, she sinks her fangs into him, contaminating his bloodstream. Just then, a man named Vanitas arrives and utilizes the Book of Vanitas to unveil her true name, Florifel, thereby restoring her to her normal state. Vanitas discloses that the grimoire has the power to eliminate the affliction that has been corrupting the names of vampires, transforming them into curse-bearers who go on destructive rampages. Later, on the streets of Paris, Vanitas extends an invitation to Noé to join him in his mission, but Noé resists and collapses in the street. Vanitas and Noé remain imprisoned after the airship incident until they receive a summons from Count Parks Orlick. Orlick intends to execute Amelia, but Noé proposes a plan. They will capture a curse-bearing vampire currently wreaking havoc in Paris and use the grimoire to save her. Dante provides Vanitas with information on the vampire's whereabouts, although Johann cautions him about Lord Ruthven's executioner being in Paris. Vanitas and Noé locate the vampire, Thomas Bernoulli, who hails from beyond the barrier and is terrorizing the people of Paris. Noé immobilizes him while Vanitas uses the grimoire to temporarily pacify him. However, two other vampires, Luca and Jean, known as the Hellfire Witch, arrive and insist on obtaining the grimoire, suspecting it is being used to create curse-bearers. Noé refuses, and Jean attacks him with the Crimson Gauntlet, but Noé and Vanitas manage to escape. Later, Vanitas reveals to Noé that the grimoire can also be employed to create curse-bearers. Jean makes a demand for the Book of Vanitas, but she is suddenly assaulted from the rear by a massive wolf-like creature named Loup-Garou. Vanitas activates the grimoire to transform Thomas Bernoulli back into his human form, revealing his true name as Buclicus. Despite being severely weakened, Jean remains determined to confront Vanitas, but Noé emerges from the shadows, holding Luca as a hostage. In a surprising turn of events, Vanitas kisses Jean and declares his love. Enraged, Jean seizes Luca and departs. Meanwhile, Knox and Manet discover Bernoulli's lifeless body, a victim of Charlatan, the vampiric entity that had corrupted his name. After witnessing Vanitas's demonstration of the grimoire's capabilities, Orlick grants Amelia a reprieve from execution and assigns her to work as a maid at Hotel Chow Chow. Noé bites Amelia's arm to access her memories, unveiling a parade of demons and Charlatan. Dominique Deschade arrives and secures a chain around Noé's neck, guiding him towards a concealed entrance to the barrier within Orlock's facility. She discloses that Lord Ruthven is set to appear at a masquerade ball that night. As they cross into the barrier, Vanitas leaps after them, clutching Noé's hand, and they emerge in Altus Paris, the vampire's rendition of the city. Upon arriving in Altus Paris, Dominique frees Noé from the chain around his neck and extends an invitation for him to partake in her blood. At the masquerade ball, Vanitas makes a grand entrance, announcing his lineage as a blue vampire and presenting a solution for the cure of all vampire curse-bearers. However, his address is abruptly disrupted by the arrival of Dominique's elder sister, Veronica, who endeavors to eliminate him. Yet, Jean intervenes and whisks him away. All of a sudden, an eerie resonance fills the edifice, triggering a group of curse-bearers who launch assaults on the other vampires present, including two fiends embodying Charlatan. Simultaneously, Jean succumbs to her thirst for blood, prompting Vanitas to offer his own. Driven by her craving, she overcomes her aversion to his human heritage, and sinks her fangs into his neck. Noé confronts Charlatan, who comes to the realization that he knows Noé. In a flashback, Noé reflects on the time he took up residence with Teacher at the Deschade household, where he crossed paths with Louis and Dominique. As the years rolled by, it became evident to Louis that he had become a curse-bearer, and he painstakingly crafted wooden stakes for Noé with the intention of being killed. However, Noé found himself unable to carry out the act. Subsequently, when their friend Mina was identified as a curse-bearer and condemned to execution, Louis took her life when she transformed into a vampiric monstrosity. Regrettably, he also succumbed to bloodlust and ended the lives of their other friends. Noé made every effort to restore his sanity, but Louis bit him and commenced drinking his blood. Noé's salvation only arrived when Teacher appeared and beheaded Louis. Back in the present, Charlatan's emissary, a dark and vaporous figure, extends an offer to accompany Noé to meet Louis. However, Vanitas makes a sudden appearance and compels the envoy to retreat. Nania, Charlatan's messenger, presses Noé to reveal his true name, but Vanitas and Jean step in to defend him. Nania, along with the two fiends, departs, and the hall becomes overrun, with curse-bearers brought to life by the dissonance of the malnamen from the beastly orchestra. Dominique pledges her support to Vanitas in his mission to save the curse-bearers. However, as he and Noé depart, she finds herself facing Veronica. In a different location, Vanitas and Noé encounter Catherine, a young vampire who has transformed into a monstrous curse-bearer, draining the life from her siblings. Vanitas offers her redemption, which results in her disintegration. Suddenly, Veronica shows up and proceeds to assault Noé and Vanitas, suspecting their involvement in creating the curse-bearers. Before she can freeze them to death, Auguste Ruthin intervenes, swiftly comprehending the situation, and extends his protection to Noé and Vanitas. That night, Noé reflects on teacher's guidance to grasp the power of the Book of Vanitas. Though he may not fully agree with Vanitas' methods, he decides to continue with the book's owner on their shared quest. In Lord Ruthin's home, Noé and Vanitas enjoy a tarte tatin with their friends Dominique, Luca, and Jean. Luca remains upset about the kiss Vanitas exchanged with Jean, but Vanitas playfully confesses his affection for Jean. He reveals the distinctive flower-shaped mark from her bite on his neck, further agitating Luca. Out of the blue, Jean seizes Vanitas and leaps out the window to address his declaration of love. Nevertheless, Vanitas inquires if she's a curse-bearer due to her bloodlust, and she confesses to using medication to control her impulses. He proposes two conditions to keep her secret: she may only drink his blood, and she must address him by his name, not just human, due to their unique connection. Interestingly, as Noé and Dominique witness their return, Dominique affectionately bites Noé's neck, and Noé draws blood from her hand, forming a bond between them. Later, Noé questions Vanitas about love, to which Vanitas responds that he doesn't truly understand what it means. At Castle Carbunculus, Lord Ruthin discloses to Noé and Vanitas his belief that Charlatan attempted to assassinate Lucius, the future Grand Duke of Oriflamme. Vanitas, suspecting the Queen's absence, requests an audience with her, but Ruthin erupts in anger, banishing Vanitas from his castle and returning them to the human realm, confirming Vanitas' suspicions. Dante informs Vanitas that a chasseur from the church's anti-vampire unit has apprehended a curse-bearer that infiltrated Paris, taking it to their headquarters in the catacombs. That evening, Noé and Vanitas acquire the uniforms of two guards and access the catacombs beneath Notre Dame in pursuit of the chasseurs. There, they encounter Roland Fortis, who sees through their disguise, imprisons Vanitas in a cell, and temporarily blinds Noé with a flash grenade. Fortis administers a green serum to augment his abilities and readies himself to eliminate the vampire, Noé. Upon discovering that Noé's companion is Vanitas, Fortis enthusiastically embraces him, but Vanitas resists due to the religious zeal of the chasseurs. Fortis proceeds to assault Noé with his enhanced abilities, and during their confrontation, Vanitas manages to release the door of his cell, injuring Fortis in the process, enabling both him and Noé to escape. Noé and Vanitas come to the realization that they must join forces to overcome Fortis and the chasseurs, although they bicker about the best strategy for achieving their goals and evading Fortis. Vanitas discloses his quest to locate Moreau, the individual who conducted experiments on him when he was taken in by the chasseurs as an orphan child. Noé pretends to hold Vanitas hostage, delaying Fortis long enough to defeat him and elucidate their purpose. Subsequently, Fortis unveils that Moreau has been expelled, and offers to ally with Noé upon learning that Moreau is alive and likely continuing his vampire experiments. Vanitas leads the group through concealed passages to Moreau's former laboratory, and upon opening the doors, Moreau warmly welcomes back number 69. Vanitas pays compliments to Moreau and asserts that he has enlisted the chasseurs for his protection. Deceived by Vanitas' stratagem, Moreau welcomes them. However, when Vanitas inquires about his mysterious benefactor, Moreau declines to provide an answer. Noé's patience wears thin, and he launches an attack on Moreau, only to be saved by a multi-eyed being Moreau refers to as Spider, leaving Noé, Vanitas, and the chasseurs to confront the menacing entity known as Predator, a dark, smoke-like creature that consumes all life in its path. Driven by desperation, Noé persuades Vanitas to take a leap with him into the creature's gaping maw. Inside, they find the curse bearer responsible for manifesting Predator, and Vanitas successfully cures it. While they all recuperate, a series of explosions starts to dismantle Moreau's complex, prompting Noé and Vanitas to exit the catacombs. Meanwhile, Roland explains the disturbance to Olivier. At the same time, Spider reports Noé's interference with Moreau's experiments to Ruthven. Jean extends an invitation to Vanitas for a date, hoping to diminish his interest in her. However, her plan backfires as she takes pleasure in exploring Paris's sights with him, all while Dante and Dominique observe them. Concurrently, Ruthven brings Noé to a cafe to inquire about the enigmatic Vanitas and expresses concerns that he might exploit Noé's innocence. In response, Noé clarifies that he treats both vampires and humans with impartiality, recognizing their shared imperfections, and denies any affiliation with vampires. Ruthven, infuriated by this, attacks Noé and bites his neck. Meanwhile, as Jean and Vanitas relax in a park, a boy grazes his knee, triggering Jean's bloodlust. She is on the verge of attacking the boy to sate her thirst when Vanitas intervenes. Dante promptly deploys a smokescreen to facilitate their escape. Later, as Vanitas allows Jean to drink his blood, he once more inquires if she is a curse bearer, but she remains unable to respond. Vanitas assures her that if she is, he will personally be responsible for ending her existence. As Vanitas and Jean make their way back to the park to retrieve the hat and parasol borrowed from Dominique, they engage in conversation, during which Vanitas realizes that Ruthven is pursuing Noé. Simultaneously, having bitten Noé, Ruthven compels him to swear that he will unquestioningly obey a future command, regardless of its nature. When Vanitas returns home, he discovers an exhausted Noé, and shortly after, Dante arrives, bringing news of the Beast of Gévaudan's reappearance. This news intrigues Vanitas, but Noé is overwhelmingly drawn to the scent of Vanitas' blood. In response, Vanitas sternly warns Noé that he will kill him if he attempts to drink his blood, as it would grant him access to Vanitas' memories. Later, Vanitas decides to journey to Gévaudan to investigate the reported beast sightings, and he brings Noé along with him.
I hope you liked the recap. If so, don't forget to subscribe and like it.